G'day guys, Aaron here from MMT. Welcome to another edition of Fix It Yourself. It's been a bloody big week here, but we can't wait to give you this episode. We're talking about the foot, the bottom of the foot, all right? So you guys know we love our feet. We're always barefoot, and we'll be the first person to tell you that having a really optimal functioning foot is really important to your overall health of your body, all right? So let's get into the nuts and bolts of it a little bit. The foot has 26 bones, has over 30 joints, and over 100 different muscles, tendons, and ligaments within it, okay? So the complexities are ridiculous, but we're gonna try and explain it to you in simple ways, so you get a bit of an understanding of what's actually in your foot and how it works, to go along with the release techniques we're gonna show you too, okay? So at the end of this video, hopefully you're gonna be equipped with the techniques to not only decrease the pain in your foot or your lower leg, but also increase your function of your foot too when you're walking and running and performing any human movement, all right? So let's go down and have a bit of a look at what's going actually on in the foot itself. This is a really cool diagram. This is 5, obviously, pictures of feet, but different levels of the foot all the way down to the bones, okay? So the first one we want to look at is this one over here. It's all white. You know we love the white. This is the plantar fascia. So you've probably heard of that word a lot before. This is pretty much what the bottom of the foot is referred to. So it's the white kind of encapsulating fascia that not only protects all the muscles and bones underneath, but it also absorbs the force of your foot hitting the ground and transmits that force up into your body, okay? So it's like a barrier for force, and it's like a protective mechanism for the foot itself. And this is the one that people commonly refer to when they injure it, okay? So you can see how white it is. Look how thick it is there, that tendon. So that's what we're going to be getting into on the most outer layer of the foot. If we take that off, we can see a few other more red muscles, okay? So starting at the heel, that's the calcaneus there, and then fanning out in a pretty much straight direction down into the toes and the rest of the foot. We take that level away, we start seeing some more complex muscles here going in different directions, okay? So still fanning out from the heel, a bit deeper in the foot though, out into the toes, and they all have varying functions to the foot. We take that away, we see some smaller structures here, even some ones going across ways too. But the most interesting part about this chart in particular here, you see these white tendons. So there's kind of 4 different ones fanning there. There's one right on the edge here that you can see, and there's one from this side coming into the big toe itself. Now these are actually muscles coming from the calf, and this is the tendon that you can see, all right? So a lot of you might not even realize that there's actually muscles from the calf, the lower leg, that come into under the foot here. So it's not just muscles that are in the foot, you've got muscles in the leg that are attaching here as well. So we're gonna get into that in a little bit and about the function of those muscles. But if we take all that away again, we see here, there's even some muscles in between these little tarsal bones here in the toes. But what's cool about this chart here is we get to an idea of what these bones look like. So the 26 bones, you see we have large kind of irregular shaped bones here, and we have more long and short bones as we go into the toes. So when our foot is functioning really well, all these bones here are articulating with each other. They're communicating with each other to allow that foot to spread, to compress, and to propel us through life, all right? So there's a lot of metaphysical reasonings and meanings behind the foot too that I'm gonna let Ninja get into in a bit later. Quite spiritual stuff, which is awesome to know too though, but yeah, what I'm gonna talk to you today is a bit more about the physical. So yeah, like I said, a really well-functioning foot is a foot that can communicate with each other. It can extend, it can spread, it can pronate and supinate, which is flattening of the foot and arching of the foot, okay? So that's what I'm going to get into now with these muscles in the lower leg. So I spoke to you before about those ones that are coming from the lower leg into the foot. I want to talk to you about what they actually are. So it's not the gastrocs and the soleus here, which is that classic vision of the calf that you might see. They attach into the Achilles, into the heel here. So we're not going to worry about them. We're going to take them off and look at a deeper layer here, all right? So we're going to start with G, this blue one. This is tibialis posterior, okay? So that comes down the inside of the shin, down the inside ankle bone, and attaches into the midfoot there on the inside. Okay, so that's the blue coming in there. And if we go back to this chart over here, Ninj, that's that one that we're talking about. All right. Now this green here, that's flexor digitorum longus. That takes a pretty similar path down the inside of the shin, inside to the back, down the inside of the ankle bone there, and that comes out and fans into all of the toes, okay? And if we've got another layer there, which is the eye, which is the flexor hallucis longus, pretty similar to the digitorum longus. That comes down a similar pathway, but that goes into the big toe, not the other 4 toes. All right, so if I show you that on myself, I've got our shin bone here. So the way to locate it is to just go to the inside of that shin bone, and that's how you can kind of access a few of these muscles. So that's the line they're on. They also sit underneath the gastrocs too, so they pretty much go into the back, and they all fan down the inside line of the shin. They come around the ankle bone and then come through and attach the tibialis posteriors in here, and the other ones go into either the big toe and then the other 4 toes, okay? So primarily what the role of these muscles are is to not only flex the toes like this, so bring the toes down, but also create an arch. So if I put my whole foot on the ground here, you can see there, see how there's an arch being created? So that's the role of those 3 muscles there, to flex the toes down and to also create a nice strong arch, all right? So if we go back to the chart over here, we can see the muscles in the shin, all right? So on the other side of the leg, the shin and the outer calf, the ones we're looking at in particular are the blue here, the E, all right? So this is the peroneus longus. So this is on the outside of the shin, attaching almost up to the knee. It comes directly down the outside of the calf there, around the outside ankle bone, underneath the foot, and look at this, it wraps all the way to the big toe. All right, so it's really cool. Look at that line, all the way down the outside of the ankle bone, underneath the foot and to the big toe. And the other one we're looking at is A, which is the pink one there. That's tibialis anterior, and that runs down the front of the shin, right down the top of the ankle there, and that comes down the line of the big toe and just wraps around the inside of the big toe there. All right, so the cool thing about these muscles is, if I show you on myself, Mitch, you've got the perineal, which starts up there at the head of the fibula on the outside of the knee. It runs down the outside of the leg there, around that ankle bone, down underneath the foot there, and wraps all the way around into the big toe there, just the inside of the big toe under there, okay? And the other one, the tibialis anterior, pretty much to the knee as well, but it runs more so shin bone again, just to the outside of the shin bone, runs down there, and if I show you here, you see that tendon that pops up there when I flex my foot up? That's that tendon of that tibialis anterior, and that comes down here and attaches at a pretty similar spot, but just to the outside of that tarsal bone there, okay? So even though those tendons attach at really similar points, the fascinating thing is, when you're looking at the arch, they do completely opposite things, all right? So when we have a really tight perineal that runs around there, that will actually contribute to a pronation of the foot, so a flattening of the foot like that. So it'll go the other way. But like the other 3 muscles we showed you here, the tibialis anterior, because it comes around and attaches into here, that will also contribute to an arch of the foot there. So you've got 2 muscles that are attaching to similar points in the foot that actually do completely separate things. So the perineal, pronate the foot, tibialis anterior, create an arch in the foot, or supinate the foot, okay? So pronation, supination, pronation, supination. Now we've got videos on the shin itself and the perineal itself, so we won't go into too much detail about them today. We would encourage you to watch out for those videos if you have issues related to high arches or a flat foot. But we just wanted to point out just the significance of the muscles that are in the lower leg that are actually coming in underneath the foot, just so you have a better understanding of why when you release something in the foot here, your leg might feel a hell of a lot better, okay? Because we're trying to educate you as well as give you these techniques, all right? So super complex, lots of different muscles, lots of different bones, lots of different joints. Hopefully you have a better understanding about what's going on in the foot now. But the techniques we're going to show you, they're not only going to help you with pain, but they're also going to help you with increased function and increased movement as well. Okay, so Ninja's going to come up in a tick and show you some hands-on stuff and talk to us about the metaphysics of the foot. All right. Hope you like this video, guys. Remember, look out for the other videos of the calf and the shin. All right.
Okay, guys, let's explore our feet. So what we want to do is just start moving around and even walking, things like that. Start noticing. Are you heavy? Are you doing this? Are you on the outside of your feet? Are you inside? Things like that. What sort of things hurt your feet? Is it when you step up? Is it when you go to pivot? Is it when you hop? When you sprint? Or things like that. So we want to really get some specific tests that are right for us, that tell us what brings on our foot pain, what kind of things, and try to really tune into that for a start. So get your measure, and then let's do some work, and then see if we can improve things. So first up, we want to do some hands-on work. So the best thing to do is just to get familiar with your own feet. So just push into them, start to feel where the spots are. So you can just do with the pads of your hands for a start, like that. You can start to spread them out like this. Spread them out and just sort of really warm up that outer layer, that fascia, that white stuff we saw in the diagram, that superficial. So we really spread them out like that. Get your fingers in and just pull it apart a bit. Really get in there like that. Spread your feet, move your feet at the same time so you can kind of feel those little tendons and things underneath, the bones moving a bit. Get in there like that. So the hands are the amazing tool to get into your feet with. So you can really do some amazing work with your own hands, or you might even think of other ways you can get into your feet as well, like with using your ankle or your knee or something like that. So if you don't have any tools on you, there's no reason why you can't be fixing yourself. So we're just getting a good kind of reconnaissance for a start, trying to really feel into all the different structures of your feet and just start to warm it up. Okay, so we just saw from the diagrams as well, we know that things are in a lot deeper where most of the problems can lie. They can be superficial, but quite often they're deeper and we need to push right in. So just doing these sort of things for a start is what we want to do. Okay, so once we've done a bit of that kind of work, then we can start to work with our thumb. So we're remembering there's lots of things attaching in up here. So we can really get our thumb right into these spots like that. And get a bit more pressure by using your leg. But really get into these sort of spots and try and work it. So you can move your feet around a bit so you can feel these attachment spots moving. Try and, move your foot around and just see if you can engage a bit better with these spots. So we want to really get into these spots here. So this is a really key spot in here. Plantar fascia, those sort of pains can often originate in some of these sort of spots. So you can really engage with the tissue, wait on it, and then wait for it to melt. Then you explore a different angle like that. So moving on, so you use pain as your guide. So many different nerve endings in the bottom of your feet, so it's all information. So that's one of the things with the feet. They contain so much information because the way they're built, designed, they've got so many nerve endings. So it tells us that they're a really important part of our body, and we've got to not neglect them, not just keep them covered and protected and things like that all the time. They need exposure to be able to perform properly. So that's why we're right into bare feet, is because that allows us to feel sensation for a start. Okay, there's other elements as well, like the grounding. So when you're earthing, so when you're connected to the ground, that's a really important thing because it allows you to dispel all the bad electricities that are going around, from all the Wi-Fi's and the phones and just electricity in general, microwaves, all that kind of electromagnetic frequencies, magnetic waves. So they kind of go into conductive materials, so metals and things like that. And humans are really conductive as well. Animals, trees, they're all really conductive because they've got, made of water and salt, a lot of it. So they're conductive. So if you're on carpet all the time, in shoes all the time, you're not going to continue that flow of ions. That's like a lightning bolt always goes into earth. Electricity always goes into earth. Okay, so if you're got insulated from the earth, then you're not going to dispel those ions. So that causes damage over time. So like to your nervous system, and to also inflammation and pain is associated with that as well. So whenever you can, touch nature, get your shoes off and connect in. So that kind of brings us to a bit of talk on the feet as well. They connect us to the ground, so where we stand as well. So that's sort of what the word understand is sort of one of those words that is associated with feet. So you can think of a lot of different things we say about taking steps and direction and things like that. So that's all about foot sort of stuff. So some of the metaphysics can kind of come from your feet. So you can look at, when you've got pain in your feet, or you can have a look at, what decisions are pending and what you kind of, or where you're digging your heels in, or different things like that. So there's just different things that you can kind of look at that might be connected with other parts of your life. It might not just be a bad luck thing that you've got a foot pain, or you've kicked your toe or something like that. There might be other things that life or the universe is trying to bring your awareness to, and try and get you to have a look at it and resolve that. And then that foot pain might help resolve as well. But working into your feet with your hands and with tools, that can be a way of bringing that out as well, bringing that to the surface type of thing. So I've just worked a lot along here. So then we can explore that. So then we can go into the arch of the foot. So you can kind of work into spots, but you can kind of do a bit of dragging as well. So dragging really slowly along that superficial fascia, and then you feel these different tendons in here. They can be quite painful. Okay, so then you can start to work on these different spots like that. So yeah, work into these spots, get right into them. So remembering we've got to work slowly, sink in slowly, let the tissue have time to respond, and then we want it to melt. So this therapeutic pain, that's what we're seeking, okay? We don't want to have traumatic pain. We want to have that knowing that it's good for us. And you just know in yourself when you have a good pain. It's going to be productive, you're going to be better for it in the future. Okay, so we're going to search for that. That's what we're seeking all the time. We're seeking these good pains, these good therapeutic sensations, and we want to see them through. We want to hold on to them until they dissolve. Once they dissolve, that's when we change angles again, start to work a different way. So working in all these different spots. Remember from the diagrams, you don't have to know what the names of the muscles are. We just need to know that there's heaps of bones in here. There's heaps of attachments in here. Okay, so we need to get into that bone level in order to make that change. Hold things, work them, use your intuition, trust that intuition. When you can feel something coming up, chase after it. Don't shy away from it. How can you move? How can you exaggerate the feeling? How can you make that change? Okay, so it's very empowering when you can actually create a change. So that's why you're actually watching treatment videos, and you're actually curious for a start. And like you know that things you're not happy with the way things are currently, and you want to upgrade, you want to make things better. So that's why you're having a look for a start. So yeah, you want to be successful. So that's why we're trying to coach you guys through this sort of stuff. So let's get into this bit here. So there's good spots in here. We remember there's thick fascia. There's all these muscles coming down into the big toe. So, and we remember as well, there's stuff that's probably up in our calf as well. So make sure you watch the calf video, because there might be some muscles up in your calf that are running down into the bottom of your foot, or into the top of your foot. Watch the shin video as well, so we can find out what the source of this pain could be. Because you know, if there's all the tension in muscles, all goes into where that tendon is attached onto a bone. That tension is where the bones are being trying to pull in different directions to create the movement. So there's going to be stress points actually where they're attached on and through the tendon. That's where all the stress is. Okay, so now I can go try and work in between like this, in between the different bones. So I can go up from here and then try and work right in between like that. You can get a view of that and see it.
Yeah, that's good.
So you can kind of put all your pressure in and try and pull in between like that. Try and get heaps of pressure in and work it. You know, you'll know where your spots are. So wherever your spots are, if you've got a spot here, that's where you try and go to. Try and get in there and try and work that tissue so that it responds favorably. We want to be slow, deliberate, and patient. You know, they're the key things. And just be intuitive. You know, when it's productive pain, you just follow that. Keep on following it. Okay, so the big toe is such an important part of the body. If you chop off your big toe, there's no balance. You know, you need this. It's got, like, I know that from one of the things DeMartini says, your jaw, your thumb, and then your big toe. They're the most complex nerve places in your body. So saying the significance of your big toe, it's really important that you got good flow in your big toe. It's working well. You know, you really want to push off it, but it kind of gives you so much information about where you're standing, where you know, spatial awareness, things like that, balance. So we're getting right into the back of the big toe now. So right in there. So you can work your toe while you're doing it. So we're just really exploring, but we're also fixing things at the same time. We're creating flow, getting right into things like that. So when I grab it and then I pull it back, I can feel that it really connects right into the back of my toe there even more. So I know that that's a good spot. So I just really hold on to that and work it. Okay, so keep on going. So you can do things like, you might want to, if you find a spot, you can work onto it. So you can get a knuckle in and then put some more pressure on like that. So just trying to give you some ideas, guys. So there's anything goes, whatever it takes to fix up your pain. So getting your knuckle in like that. If there's a spot in the side of your foot, get in there, work it like that. So you might feel like you want to spread your toes out more. So you might want to get your fist under there and really try and spread it out, you know, like that type of thing. Whatever it takes, like that. So under here, spots as well. So you might want to be able to push on it, tread on it as well, like that. And one of the things, just for ideas as well, is using your own body. So you're like a knee or an ankle can be a good tool. So you can get right in there like that. So you can get in there and really push in. You might even do some strokes like that. So you can kind of push along, and then when you're on that ankle bone, really work it. If I can do something you can see, like that. Work right onto it. So yeah, always on the search for tools, you know, that's what the radar's switched on to when you're doing this kind of work. What kind of things you got in your house, you know, is it rolling pin, is it an old chair leg, whatever it is, you're looking for it. So things like that. So yeah, so I think probably toes, underneath the toes, so you can really work under the toes, move them round like that, and then work into the back of the joints. We'll do another video on the top of the foot and the top of the toes, but yeah, really try and work into these spots. You can really affect toes. Don't think that they're just stuffed and there's nothing you can do about it. There definitely is, and use that intuition again to really push into these spots and hold it, move it, and wait for things to change. Okay, we're trying to change the state of the tissues. We're trying to change them from solid into more liquefied, elastic kind of tissues, and yeah, get the body to heal itself where it's been stuck and blocked and things like that in the past. So yeah, and even words like that, stiffness, stuck, block, whatever it is, rigid, these kind of words can all be kind of things that can help with the metaphysics side of things as well. So where you might be blocked with the decision making, your direction, your stance, or you know, whatever it might be, that can be a word that might help you describe where you need to kind of have a look at in your life and where you want to yeah, fix up a bit. So anyway, so hopefully that's given you a few ideas what you can do with your hands. Your hands can be so powerful. You can fix things with your own hands. But yeah, we're gonna move on to some tools. So we'll let Aaron show us a bit more creative ideas for you guys.
All right, guys, so we've got a better understanding of where our spots are in our feet by using our hands. What I want to stipulate as well is that you want to test and evaluate and retest. Okay, so once you've found a point where it's painful when you're either walking or jumping or things like that, do your releases for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, go and move around, jump again, do some agility movements and things like that, and see if things have changed. Given how much we went over in the anatomy and how much things can relate to the leg, speaking from experience, I know that when I do any release work with my feet, you get instantaneous changes happening, or you just feel a lot better in the foot and the leg, all right? So tap into that, understand what points do what things, and you're going to be much more effective. So what we're starting with today is some rolling tools. We've got the old cement pipe, the old cardboard pipe here, all the way into the rolling pin, and then some balls. Okay, so we're going to start with the cement pipe. So the good thing about this is it hits pretty much the entire aspect of the foot. If you get a bird's eye view here, this is pretty good. So you can see it hits the whole foot there, eh? All right, so I'm going to prop myself up against this thing here, put my other foot on top if I want, or you can just have it like that, and we're just going to roll back and forth like this. You can go pretty quick here. It's just a bit of another way of exploring where your main bits are. So I can roll on the inside of the foot closer to the arch, yeah, and then I can come over to the outside as well and see what's going on there too. So the good thing about moving nice and quick as you're releasing, like I said before, you're actually getting the bones to move as well. So you're getting a release of the muscles and the soft tissue, but you're also getting the bones to move against each other, to articulate, and any kind of bones that aren't really articulating well with each other, when you do these rolls here, you might be encouraging them to move better. Okay, so I feel when I go back towards my heel there, into the arch, that really gives me some goodness. All right, so that's with the broad tool. You might be at that level. You'll get a good change. You do that for 10 minutes, you'll get a really good change. Lots of blood will be going in there. You've released, you've stretched some things, but maybe you want a even more targeted release. Get the old cylinder here, the old cardboard cylinder. A bit thinner than that cement roller. Thus, it's going to penetrate through that plantar fascia and get into those deepest layers. So we're right kind of at that heel level there. And we're just going to slowly take it down. Oh, yes. All the way down to the toes there. Oh, some goodness. And Ninja's told us the amount of nerve endings that are in the foot. So you'll get all sorts of sensations. Sharp sensations, spreading, like referral type sensations up the leg and into the toes. It's all good. It's all magic. Oh, right there. That's an absolute Kelly Ripper. Oh, right on the outside of my foot here. That's where I've got the pressure. You can see how that bit's sticking out. There's some absolute gold in there. Brilliant with that tool. Now, getting the real duck's nuts out. The rolling pin. Everyone's got one of these at home, hopefully. So, no excuses, eh? This is where it gets ain't for the faint-hearted. Oh, I don't even think I can go fully on the air there. So, I've got to prop myself up to start with. So we'll start back there, right on the heel. Oh yeah, so people with heel pain, I didn't even go there with the other ones, Ninja, but people with heel pain right underneath the bone there, that gets right up onto that calcaneus, they call it. And then let's slowly roll down. Let's figure out where my best bits are. Oh, wow. You should be able to see as the rolling pin goes down my foot, the different aspects that are extending there and flattening out. Wow. This is amazing. Oh, yes. Comprehensive. No stone unturned. This is just hitting every single aspect of that foot. Around the inch, so you can see from the arch side, eh?
Okay.
Yes. All right up in. Remember what attaches in there, guys? Give you a few seconds if you're playing at home.
I can't think of it either.
Tibialis posterior.
There you go.
That one that fans out in that four, like a kind of a duck's foot, duck's webbing. Right up in there. Oh, that's an absolute ripper in there. Oh, if I roll around the side there. Oh, awesome. Awesome. So just ideas, guys. Plenty of them. The old spiky ball. A lot of you have one of these at home. Can we do the same thing? Bloody oath. This one though, I mean, you can roll, but I reckon when you get to the balls, it's more like you just want to pin things like that and hold, stand on top of your foot, reinforce it, and hold for a matter of minutes. Because when you're first on it, it's pretty brutal, but then after a while, it just dissipates. Oh, so good though, so good. Can we go down a little bit towards the toes? Spread the toes a little bit more. Oh, bloody hell, that's great. So just take the time, guys. Keep your release tools next to your telly at night, whatever you do at night. You know, when you're cooking a meal or at your home office in lockdown at the moment, keep a ball underneath your desk. There's always time for some release. Oh, yeah. All right. And now, the old lacrosse ball, our favourite tool, one of our favourites. This does some real fine tuning to kind of artistry, we'll call it. Gets into the crevices. If you remember back to the anatomy, you remember that deepest layer where we showed the bones, those little muscles in between each of the tarsals, the bones in the foot there. Maybe the lacrosse ball could get into them. Oh yeah, I've got a good bit right there. Wowee. Oh, you remember that bit in the big toe where those two muscles in the shin were coming down? I reckon that's what I've got in here. Try and pin that. Oh, awesome. So yeah, guys, plenty of ideas for you. Start with rollers. Get some balls. You can use, if it's too much pain, you can use a tennis ball. So it's a bit more give in it. Won't give you as much pain. Or even a golf ball if you want to go real nuts. But yeah, Ninja's going to come up with some even more innovative ideas when he's been in his tool shed looking around at what he can use. All right, so stay tuned for that coming up. Here he is. Ninja, what do you got for us, brother?
All right, we just had a bit of a look around the house, so no excuses, guys. So a stick. Everyone
can find a stick.
If you haven't got anything, you can go out and get a stick. But we just got like the pestle from the mortar and pestle. This is a leg off an old chair. Curtain rod, screwdriver, a mallet, and a kettlebell, and we've got a broomstick as well. But so it's just use your imagination. Think about the different spot in your body that's sore and stuck and things like that. Think about its function and what shape it is, and so what would be a good shape to fit into that spot. So one of the ones I was just exploring earlier is this one. So it's just such a good tool. We just found this by accident in a way, but it's just so diverse. Like we can just get into different spots. We can also move around, so we can kind of hit on this exact spot that we want. We can kind of, when we're on that spot, then we can do little jostles, little wiggles that'll actually engage with it even more. and then we can hit on that spot that we need to budge, okay? So that's good too, because we can roll, and like Aaron was saying, like you want those bones in there to be able to articulate, just be able to rub across each other and glide across each other properly. So it's a big, really important thing that our feet are able to spread, you know, so we can do things like tread on them like that. So your feet can spread, the bones in under there can spread out. You can see my toes just spreading like that. So then you can just move that tool around just to hit on the spot that needs to work through like that. So it's like, think about the spot in your body that needs the work. Is it on the outside, that little toe bone, things like that? Where's that originating from? Let's work it, you know, let's tread on things, explore, see what feels good, see what feels right, things like that. So similar kind of thing with the mallet. So you might have a mallet at home, so tread on it, work it, move that handle around. Do you want to kind of get things to spread like that? How can you work it? How can you work it so you hit on the things really well? So it might be on the handle itself, you know, like where do you want to target? What's going on? Like that. So that's really cool tools. Okay, so just your imagination, the stick as well, like it might be, you know, working like that into a spot. So really find that spot that you want to release off and hold it and wait. And then you can kind of change direction, try and do little wiggles with your feet as well to try and help you hit the right aspect like that. So it might be right up into here and like that. So everything, you know, can be used as a implement to help you get better like that. So just with feet, like a lot of people have, you know, been wearing shoes all their life, and what that does, it kind of squishes your feet into the shape of the shoe. So a lot of times the bones in your feet are really compressed and stuck together in a way, and like they're just not able to spread. So getting in bare feet is like a really healthy thing to do. Like one of the things we like to talk about is exposure, like exposing your feet to all the elements, but also to movement and things like that. So your feet will find the way. Your feet teach you a lot about your body and about yourself as well. So get barefooted as much as you can. So and exercise in it, because it'll teach you about your balance and things like that. And like it just tells you a lot about a person if your feet are really soft or if they're kind of calloused and things like that. It sort of, there's a lot of kind of metaphysical kind of things in that as well. So we want to have our feet be independent and functional and be there for us, you know. So we really try and have our feet working optimally and exposing them to all different kind of forces and angles and just temperatures and things like that. That's what builds up resilience in them. So the other thing, when you're out on the soil and the sand and the mud and the whatever it is, the snow, the rocks, there's all these different natural biomes that exist in the world. And like a big part of being healthy is having diversity of different biomes, you know, in our body. So our feet actually soak up this kind of stuff. They just know what to do with all the different elements and little microbes that exist on the planet, and it's part of what helps us build up our immunity and resilience to lots of different things. So that's something to think about. So just got a screwdriver here, just pushing into spots. So push into these sort of spots here, wherever you need it, get in there and just really push it in, and then move these things around like that. Similar with the pestle, you know, just sort of, you got these stuff at home, there's no excuses. So you push into the spots, you can tread on these things, you can work them wherever you need it. Use your intuition, you know, use your imagination. What does it need? What does your body need? Trust those feelings, trust them. Okay, want something really sharp, you got a spot in a toe, say, you might need something that's really little. So you'll get into a spot like this, and push it. Why not? You want that toe to work better? Let's get in there, you know. So and you might want to think about what the action is that hurts you. If it's pushing through it, stepping through it, it might be there. You try and work that through the step, you know. The toe, if the toe is no good, try and get them to, you know, hit pressure on it so it can spread and things like that. Move, push on things. So it's sort of no real rules. So you can kind of invent your own treatment that's perfect for you. You're the best practitioner for yourself. You know your body intimately. You know it better than anybody else. You are the expert. And the great thing about treating yourself, you know all these sensations while you're doing it. You know if they're right. You know if it's more trauma or whatever it might be. Like that. So just really explore it. Figure out what you need. You know, where you need the pressure. What hurt you? Was it, you know, hopping or pivoting? You know, whatever it might be. Work that out. Test it again and then see if it's better. But I want to finish with the broomstick. So we'll just go into a corner of a room. And so this actually is brilliant. So you can kind of really push some pressure right into these sort of spots. So if you've got a bit of a plantar fascia issue, push right into where that soreness is. Then we can kind of move it around a little bit. Well, like that. Change the angles. And then really drive some pressure into it. So you can really get some really good release done with the broomstick, and it's just sort of such a great tool. So yeah, work it. So whatever spot you need, just push it in, weight on it, use your intuition, you know. Might be a spot in here, say, like that. So how can we spread it? You know, how can we get this to change, you know? Move our toes around a bit. Push in, like that. Spread our foot. You want it's compressed. Help work into it. Like that. Wherever that spot is. Wow. Like that. So yeah, limited by your imagination. Anyway guys, so there's some ideas for you. No excuses, there's got to be something around your house that you can use. Go broader, use your hands first, go broader to sharper when you really know there's a spot that you really want to get out, it's been stubborn or whatever. Yeah, and then test as well. With the feet as well, like don't be worried if there's a bit tender and things like that for a few days. That's really normal. Just give the body time to integrate, let it settle down, and then yeah, test again. You know, see what results have happened, and have awareness in your calves and things like that as well. Like Aaron was saying, shins and calves, they might be associated with the spot in your feet. So yeah, best wishes with this work. Get into your feet. They're, we reckon, one of the most important parts of your body. So if they're functioning well, you're normally functioning well. So yeah, stay tuned for other episodes as well, and we'll see you soon.
G'day guys, Aaron here from Melbourne Muscular Therapies. Welcome to another edition of Fix It Yourself. Big episode today. We're talking about the foot, all right? You know, we love our feet here. We're always barefoot. We know the significance and the importance of how important it is to have a bloody good foot. I love when you're laughing. I'm like, oh no. Lovely. Pop your tag back out.
Okay, so we're going to continue on with our foot exploration. So what we want to do is we want to get really specific measures just for our own thing to look back on.